Hi guys, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at the overall changes on the Hector staging test server at the moment. Just a disclaimer before we get into anything else, it's a test server, things could change, this isn't the final release notes, I guarantee something's going to change between now and 7th of June. However, what I plan to do is I'm going to go through these whole patch notes, really pick out the massive changes, talk about them, give my opinions, and then I'm going to do individual videos based on things like the black market, the Hellgates. Obviously you've probably seen already that I've done a couple of videos, so I'm going to do a couple more videos based around Hector. I think Hector's far from covered so far. Let's get straight into it currently. So the first thing first, black market is now open in Carleon. Your new rotund friend is waiting for you west of the main square. So I've actually tried this. He looks amazing. He looks like some sort of dark king type thing. It does look pretty cool. Buys gears, sells it on to shady characters. The merchant will put up buy orders for equipment he wants. You can also make sell orders and wait for his prices to match. Items bought by the merchant mysteriously find their way into the hands of the mobs in the world, which will then occasionally drop them as loot. Quality and enchantment level will remain intact throughout the process. So you could sell something to him at the buy order he wants, and it will appear on a mob somewhere for someone to loot. This is a really cool feature. What I do like is this. Every time a mob wants to drop an item, it checks the black market storage for that item, and if there aren't any in storage, it increments the buy order for that item. Meaning, if you kill, I'm just going to go random here, if you kill a direwolf, and that direwolf wants to drop a tier 6 curse staff, and there isn't one on the black market auction house, it will then up the price for tier 6 curse staffs on the black market auction house. So eventually they'll keep going up and up and up until someone looks at it and goes, that's good money, I'm going to sell that. And then it starts over. So everything's slowly rising until someone sells it, and then it keeps rising until someone sells it, and so on. There's also an inbuilt destructive element in the cycle to keep the economy flowing nicely, which means that's a really cool feature that not everything's going to get through the black market, which I like, because otherwise we would just get more and more loot because nothing would then trash, or less stuff would be trashing because it'd be going through the black market, that sort of idea. Harbours and Black Seas are now gone. Harbours are now named normal clusters. The 3 cities in the Black Zone, Fort Thusair, Fairwich and Shearborough, have been removed. I've never seen someone really use either 3 of these towns. I'm not sure that's going to be a big loss. The harbours are, but I don't know that the towns are going to be big losses. Islands in the 3 cities and all market orders in both cities and harbours will be moved to Carleon. Any items left in the bank in these cities or in harbours will be lost as any buildings left standing. So a couple of things I want to say about this. Market orders also includes things like buy orders. If you've got a lot of buy orders in any one of these towns, they will move to Carleon, and if they find something of a right price, they could potentially buy it. So just be careful about that. You don't want to go spending everything because you've put buy orders up. Other than that, everything should move to Carleon, but do it yourself. Like the banks in the cities and harbours will be lost, so just take them over before 7th of June. Just not worth risking it. I'm sure if you ask nicely, people can start setting up the odd caravan or 2 from these towns. So yeah, just like I said, don't risk it. The Realm Gate. The Carleon Realm Gate has now opened. The glowing gateway in Carleon in the middle of the Royal Continent will allow you to travel to one of numerous Realm Gates in the Outlands. Outlands gates all connect exclusively to the Carleon Gate. So that means that they only connect to the Carleon one, which is cool. You can't use a Realm Gate on a different continent for 60 minutes after travelling, so hold on. Do you know what? Hold on. And you can see I'm doing my usual thing of just standing in Carleon. I'm actually going to start the staging realm, and we're going to go and have a look at this, because I actually had this whole thing planned out, and I've got to this and reread it and realised just how flipping confusing it is. So we're going to have a look. So we're going to have a look at the realm gate. I'm going to skip forward a little bit first. Right, Outlands resources. Outlands regions in Anglia and Cumbria now spawn the same number of resources as the equivalent region in Mercia. The better Outlands regions now have increased chances of having enchanted resources, Cumbria having twice the normal chance of enchantment and Mercia having 4 times. T7 resources now have more spawn locations but spawn with 23 units. Tier 8 resources now spawn differently, and we'll talk about that in a minute, with 27 units. So I like this because people were dying because they were going AFK. They were having to AFK in standing mining like a tier 8 node or a T7 node. Like I've come across someone before where he was literally just stood there mining a T7 node, and I just walked up behind him and was like, what up? And he sprinted, and he did run in fairness, but I stood there for a good 2 or 3 minutes because he was just AFK. So let's travel to Carleon. So this is the new travel map, by the way, just in case. You can actually click on the place you want to go, which is really cool. Right. I apologise if you're getting any extra noise from outside today. It's absolutely sweltering in the UK right now, or in England at least right now, and I've got like every single way of getting air into my room open. Just everything. Anyway, so this is the realm gate, which looks amazing. Okay, so that's different to what it says on the... that's different to what it says on here. You can't use a realm gate on a different continent for 60 minutes after travelling. So you know what? Let's go to here, shall we? We're going to good old Hanging Valley right now. Okay, so... Right, I understand now. You can use the realm gate on the continent that you're on to travel to other realm gates on the continent you're on. So in 10 minutes, I can travel from that realm gate to that one. What I can't do... I don't know what that is. That looks amazing. Okay. What I can't do is travel to any of the gates on here. So I can't travel to Alderwood, I can't travel to that one, I can't travel to any of these. I also can't travel to the Mercia ones. So you can travel, every 10 minutes you can travel internally in a zone, in a continent, sorry. It says 120 minutes in here. I think it's... I actually think it's 60 minutes, as it says 60 minutes there. I don't know. So I can run back to Carleon, but I can't use it for anything else, basically, is the way that works. So if I go back to here now, can I travel to there? Okay, so there's definitely some things to get used to. Effectively, once every 10 minutes you can travel back and forward to the same portal you used. For the 10 to or 60-minute mark, you can travel to any portal in that continent, and after the 60 minutes you'll reset. You can do the same thing again. However, I believe that buff re-updates every time, so if you want to go from Cumbria to Mercia, you're either going to have to run or wait the hour, which I'm not sure I like, but obviously they have their reasons for doing it. So let's get back to this. Outlands resources. So having more enchanted resources means that the higher gatherers are going to be in the Mercia. It basically incites Mercia to be a PvP hub. People aren't going to be people aren't going to be roaming around in Anglia because, well, gatherers aren't going to be there. The better gatherers aren't going to be there anyway. The better PvPers aren't going to be there. They're going to want to be in Mercia. So Cumbria is going to be a lot more populated, I think, and Mercia is just going to be a hellhole. I think Mercia is going to be a lot of PvP, and I really like that. I think that's a cool change. The tier 7 resources, I like this. I don't like the huge nodes. I like it having more, but only only 23 units, which is it's still a lot. And tier 8 resources, so we'll go over them with the territory changes rather than doing them now. Red zones now have substantially better loot chances than safe zones, and Outlands now have substantially better loot chances than red zones. I don't know what this means unless this is loot from mobs, which makes sense. So you actually get, so at the moment I don't believe you get more loot based on the area. So yeah, it will be that. So killing a boss in a red zone has more chance to drop stuff than in a safe zone, and Outlands more than red zones. That's cool. So you actually get more loot for the higher you are. It's good. It's rewarding people to go to the Outlands, and that is cool. Improved Watchtowers. Watchtower territories are now the sole source of tier 8 resources. All resources in Watchtower territories now respawn at the beginning of their prime time. The resources are guarded by NPC guards, but can be raided by other players. And we'll go over this one just while they're here. All GvG fights now need to be declared 22 hours in advance. So, this whole thing right here. Watchtower territories are now the sole source of tier 8 resources. The problem with this is that I typically are in quite small guilds right now. We wouldn't have the numbers to put in to raid a big zone's tier 8, a big zone's watchtower. We just wouldn't be able to. So I'm a bit concerned that this is just going to be sort of the rich get richer type thing. The people that have the watchtowers just get richer from it. I think the NPC guards need to be different NPC guards from the actual territory. The territory at the moment, the guards respawn every like half a second or like 2-3 seconds. It's ridiculous fast. If they're respawning at that rate, then you're just not going to be able to hold them off as well as players. But yeah, so sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm just about to shut my damn window. I'm just about to shut my curtains because they're even driving me nuts. I don't imagine what this is coming through on the video. And we're back. So yeah, I'm not sure I like this. I'll have to see how it plays out. This is probably one of the biggest things I'm worried about for release of Hector, but we'll see what happens. World PvE improvements. Mob camps and dungeons. Many new medium-sized mob camps have been added, which replace around half of existing solo dungeon entrances. This is really cool. It stops people having to go into solo dungeons being renowned for having like a 5-man group come in and gank you. Especially in like the Black Zone and stuff like that. I like the fact that it's all outdoors now, which is cool. New large mob camps have been added and their regions reworked to make them more visually significant. So let's actually see if we can find one, shall we? So that's the Carlion Underground. Is that it? Ah, there we go. So that whole middle part is actually now the area to farm in, and then you've got the blue dungeon in the middle. That's pretty cool. All the old large camps have been retired. New huge dungeons can be found beneath large camps. Oh, so that's what the blue dungeon is. Some of which have multiple layers. These replace and substantially improve on all existing non-raid group dungeons. That's pretty cool. I like the idea of multiple layers. I think it gives you more chance of a defense if you get attacked in these dungeons, and people do. People look to them for PvP. I think it gives you more chance for a defense. The problem is, I think people are just not going to clear the first layer, or they'll clear the first layer to get through it, then they'll get to the second layer and just farm the second layer, if it works like that and it's just a mirror of the same two maps. I haven't tried them. I'll have a look at that, and that's one thing I plan on doing a video about. Hellgates. I'm going to be doing a whole video around Hellgate, so I'm going to brief over this. But Hellgate areas have been rebuilt from scratch. The new map forms a pentagram, allowing groups to rotate around them as they see fit. This should be much better from a PvP perspective. It is, by the way. You can enter at any one of the 5 points. From my experience so far, they enter on the opposite one. It's not every time, but the majority of the time, as I've looked at it, they've come in at the opposite point. So if you come in at the top, they come in roughly one of the two at the bottoms. So it's pretty good. Mob revisions. Mobs are now set up to be much easier to disengage from. Consistent DPS required to reduce to make it less crippling to be ambushed while fighting them. So you don't need very high damage at all. I can solo 2 mobs there as a 7.1 curse staff. I can kill the mobs quite easily solo. And they have such a short leash range that it's just crazy. So yeah, I like the fact that the mobs are kind of less impactful. The problem is I think people are just going to skip them. Like, you could literally run past all the mobs and it would not matter that much. Mini bosses. There are now 5 mini bosses. You need to kill all 5 to trigger the main boss. Helping to kill a mini boss gives a short 5% buff to damage and resistances. So I actually tested this. He drops like a rune on the floor. You can step into the rune and that gives you the buff. It also heals you back up to full. The thing is with this is the boss works on the same as like the outside boss does, is that the group that does the most damage gets the benefit of the rune. So it's still really cool. It's a really good anti-ambush tactic on bosses, and that's really cool. You can't leave any hell until you've been there for at least 4 minutes or until you die. Yeah, it locks you in that. I actually think that number needs to go up to maybe 6 or 7 minutes. 4 works for now. Infernal Hellgate. This is the new Hellgate found in red and black zones, which still exists, but with all the changes outlined above. Just to give a... Okay, I can't actually see it without going to the zone. It's a red portal. Ignited Hellgate is a new Hellgate found in yellow zones. When you lose all your health inside this gate, you're knocked down and ejected from hell. The hostile counter is enabled. Item power is soft capped to keep them competitive. Fame and loot are scaled appropriately for its reduced danger level. So you get less loot, you get less fame. This is the practice one. If you ever get a group that you're like, yeah, I'm not sure how well this is going to go into a yellow one first, test it out, and then take it up to the Infernals. Infernals are definitely going to be where the big guys are at, the big teams. Ashen Hellgate is a new Hellgate found in green zones, similar to Ignited Hell with the following changes. It's limited to 2 players only. The boss is replaced with a lootable chest. Mobs are appropriately balanced for the player numbers. I don't think that's quite true. I think they're balanced around 1 person at like tier 4. I don't think 2 people would ever have issue with like mobs in there. Fame and loot again scaled for danger level. Yeah, it is pretty accurate. It's good for a tier 4, not good for anything else. Again, if you're interested in the Ashen Hellgates, please check out my PvP video. It's had a massive amount of views the last day. Please go and check it out. New mounts: Undead, Keepers, Morganas now have all have 2 faction mounts, a regular one and an epic one, which has an activated ability. Note that the Undead Bone Horse already exists and is therefore not listed here. New tier 8 Undead epic mount. Spectral Bone Horse, one of the new epic faction mounts. The Spectral Bone Horse is a prestige mount with an active ability, allowing you to briefly turn invisible. To craft, needs a regular Bone Horse and a special item that drops from the weekly Undead raid boss. You could turn invisible while on a mount. Oh my god. Shove it, Zergs. Like, you can, if you play well with this, you can potentially outplay a Zerg. And that is an amazing thing to think of. This mount is going to be amazing. The Swiftclaw occupies a similar role to the Direwolf, but losing a bit of speed in exchange for a bit more protection. That's good. I believe that's a tiger, and it looks amazing. It's really cool that they're kind of losing a little bit of speed, but gives it a little bit more protection. This is probably going to be the mount of choice to roam around on, just because it has higher speed than horses, but a bit more protection than the Direwolf. Another of the new epic faction mounts, the Rage Claw, is a prestige mount with an active ability, allowing you to sprint even faster for a short period. You can either get away with people with this, or catch people. So again, roaming around on these are going to be pretty damn amazing. The Warhorse is an improved version of the armored horse. The new tier 8 Morgana epic mount, Nightmare. The third of the new epic faction mounts, the Nightmare, is a prestige mount with an active ability, allowing you to leave a trail of fire, burning fire behind you for a short time, damaging any enemies who touch it. So I would like to see one thing changed with this, please. Instead of damaging, or as well as damaging even, make this the firewall from fire staffs. Make it fear as well. That would be amazing. Because if you path that properly and you got that in a choke that they had to run through, you can survive, and that's crazy. But yeah, so please make it fear just for half a second. The same thing as like the fire staff does, and this would be amazing. This would be on par with the other two for being able to survive stuff. The tier 8 mount, transport mammoths. Transport mammoths are the ultimate guild level transport. It carries huge amounts of cargo, and while it's slow enough that it probably needs a sizable escort through dangerous territory, it's also tough enough to withstand some punishment while you fight the enemies off. Mammoth calves are a rare drop from mammoths. Giant stag is a fun alternative to the regular horse with some small stats differentiation. Fawns drop rarely from giant stags, similar to a direwolf. And the new tier 2 mount, given as a reward for completing the tutorial, the new perfect starter mount. It looks amazing. The tutorial. Once you first get into town, you'll find a friendly royal agents around to help you with your feat. Finish all the tasks and they'll reward you with a new mule mount and a novice's cape. So I'm actually going to go and do this tutorial and record it one day, just to show people what it's like if people are interested. Journeyman weapons. All base weapon types now exist at Journeyman tier 3 level. This is amazing. I can play Curse even earlier. Added in this release, hammer cross... I didn't want to do that. Add in this release hammer, crossbow, quarterstaff, dagger, curse staff, frost staff, and this also eliminates the remaining weirdness with the adept nodes for those weapons. This is really cool because it makes things a lot more simple, and I can play curse staff earlier. My favourite change. Potion rework. All potion have been revisited and reworked. Potion cooldown has been reduced to 2 minutes, and in some cases even lower. Oh. Ooh. Healing potions. Heals a portion of the max heals over the course of 15 seconds. Duration is the same on every tier. The higher the tier, the more it heals over 15 seconds, I suppose. Energy potions. Instantly restores a percentage of the max energy. Resistance pots. Increases resistances and crowd control resistance for 6 seconds. So there's no longer the 9-second resist increase, but a crowd control resist as well. That's really strong. Revive flasks are now Gigantify potions, increases max health and max load for 15 seconds. Think Giant, I believe it does do the double health thing as well, so definitely Giant from Guardian Boots. Chilling flasks are now sticky potions, can be thrown at a ground target to create an area which slows and reduces damage of enemies. The highest tier of this one does about 30%, I believe, so that's pretty amazing actually. Recovery potions are now poison potions. Can be thrown at enemies to poison them, dealing true damage over time and reducing armor. Amazing. Give people a way to be full offensive with potions. That's really cool. The caster turns invisible after consumption. I did not know about this. This is amazing. I want one. So cleansing potions, I believe, are like tier 7 or tier 8 anyway. Obviously, invisibility potions have taken over that role. The caster turns invisible. I don't like that, actually. I don't think. We'll have to see how that plays out, but I don't think I like that. I think there's going to be a lot more people stealthing through important packs to stop people chasing them. I mean, it's kind of what it's worth, but I don't know. And then we got onto the improvements and combat changes and things like that. So I'm going to save that for another video because this is already 23 minutes long. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll have another version coming out afterwards. For the improvements and stuff like that. How do I think of this so far? So people have been asking me what I think about the Hector thing. The mounts are cool. It's going to make world bosses so much more like competed for, and that's amazing. The new tier 5 mounts gives just a bit of variety. The Hellgates, I like the Hellgates, I do. I like the new layouts in all 3, so yeah, I've got no problems with that. Mob camps and dungeons, I like that they're more outside. I think that's pretty cool. More ways to defend yourself in a ganking situation. The watchtowers, yeah, they're still my most worried about thing just because of the tier 8 resources. I actually really like this. I like the fact that the higher you go into the Outlands, the worse it gets. Like there's going to be more people there. It's going to be more dangerous. However, it's more rewarding. That's pretty cool. The round gate, obviously we've tested this today. We've shown a little bit of it today. Yeah, it's quite confusing, but it's good. I think I like it. Harbours and Black City's now gone. Yeah, that's whatever. I don't really care about that. Black Market's really cool, actually. I really like that. So overall, I think Hector's... I'm looking forward to Hector. If nothing else, to play Curse at tier 3. Sounds sad, but that's my dream. Anyway, guys, like I said, I'm going to start this video now. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe below if you like the video. But yeah, other than that, catch you later, guys, and tune in for like round 2 in a minute, so to speak, with all the improvements and stuff like that. Catch you later.